This is the moment the room changes. No reactions, no arguments, just procedure. All rise isn't ceremonial fluff. It signals that what's about to happen is formal, binding, and irreversible. From here on out, every word matters.
You may be seated. Good morning. Today is January 9th, 2026. We are here in case number 670878, defendants A, B, and F. If the parties could please identify themselves for the record, starting with the prosecuting attorneys.
Thank you, Judge. Kevin Filiatro, Assistant Prosecutor on behalf of the state.
Megan Hoffman on behalf of the state of Ohio.
Thank you.
Special Agent Kristen McCaskill, Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Thomas Shaughnessy on behalf of Destiny Henderson.
Mary Joseph on behalf of Destiny Henderson.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Kevin Spilsey on behalf of Mr. Polk.
Good morning, Your Honor. Brian Radigan, representing Mr. Polk.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Nancy Jameson on behalf of Portria Williams.
Kelsey Taylor, also on behalf of Ms. Williams.
Thank you. And for the record, Destiny Henderson is present in the courtroom, Nathaniel Polk is present in the courtroom, and Portria Williams is present in the courtroom. On a former date, Ms. Henderson pled guilty on November 18th of 2022 to involuntary manslaughter in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.04A, a felony of the first degree, and was also strike that, and also pled guilty to the 3-year firearm specification. Next, Destiny pled guilty to kidnapping in violation of Revised Code Section 2905.01A2, a felony of the first degree. Also pled guilty to the 3-year firearm specification. Next, Destiny pled guilty to conspiracy in violation of Revised Code Section 2923.01A2, a felony of the second degree. All remaining counts were nullied. And for purposes of this proceeding, the court is going to address counsel for Destiny first, then Mr. Polk, then Ms. Williams. So next, we will move on to Mr. Polk. On December 8th of 2022, Mr. Polk entered a plea of guilty to involuntary manslaughter in violation of Revised Code Section 2903.04A. Additionally, pled guilty to the 3-year firearm specification. Next, pled guilty to kidnapping in violation of Revised Code Section 2905.01A2. Additionally, pled guilty to the 3-year firearm specification. Lastly, pled guilty to conspiracy in violation of Revised Code Section 2923.01A2, a felony of the second degree. All remaining counts were nullied for Mr. Polk. As it relates to Destiny, all remaining counts were also nullied. Moving on to Ms. Williams. On November 18th of 2022, Ms. Williams pled guilty to aggravated murder in violation of 2903.01A, an unclassified felony. Additionally, Ms. Williams pled guilty to the 3-year firearm specification. Next, Ms. Williams entered a plea of guilty to kidnapping in violation of Revised Code Section 2905.01A2, a felony of the first degree. Next, Ms. Williams pled guilty to conspiracy in violation of Revised Code Section 2923.01A2, a felony of the second degree. The remaining counts were nullied. Mr. Filiatro, there was a plea agreement placed on the record in all of those cases. Am I accurate?
Yes, Judge, you are. And if you'd like me to address that now, I can.
You may.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, This case was originally indicted at the end of 2021, shortly after the crimes against Alishah Pointer, Ms. Jackson, and Ms. Harris were committed. And along the way, in meeting with defense counsel, we did come to plea agreements with these three defendants. And I've outlined what those agreements were in the sentencing memorandum that I filed in all of the cases.
And Mr. Fitt, I do not mean to interrupt,
Yes.
but the court is in receipt of the sentencing memorandum filed on behalf of the state, which was on January 6th of this year, 2026. Thank you, Mr. Filiatro.
Thank you. With regard to Destiny Henderson, the state of Ohio, she pled guilty to an amended count 5 that was amended to involuntary manslaughter. She pled to count 10 and count 14 as the court outlined. Mr. Polk also pled guilty to an amended count 5, amended to involuntary manslaughter, count 10 and count 15. And Portria Williams pled guilty to count 1 as indicted, count 10 and count 13. The plea agreements that were offered for these counts were contingent on each of these defendants testifying truthfully as needed by the state of Ohio against the remaining defendants, if needed. And each defendant did that. And so, because that happened, the state of Ohio is, at the time of the plea, we offered a sentencing agreement as well that I said at that time I would follow through on if each defendant abided by their pleas, and they have. So for that reason, I'm asking the court to implement the agreed sentencing for each defendant, and I'll outline that as follows. For Destiny Henderson, the state of Ohio is requesting count 5, involuntary manslaughter, for her to receive a sentence of 10 years, which after Reagan Tokes is applied would become 10 to 15, plus 3 years for the firearm specification. On count 10 for Destiny Henderson, the state is requesting a sentence of 9 years, plus 3 years for the firearm specification.
When you hear counts were nollied, that means the prosecution officially dropped those charges, not because they disappeared, but because these guilty pleas replaced them. This is the legal trade-off: fewer charges in exchange for certainty, testimony, and accountability.
10 years on count 5, 9 years on count 10, plus 6 years for firearm specifications, being 25 years. And then after Reagan Tokes is applied, it will be 25 to 30. That is the agreement that I spelled out at the time of the plea. Ms. Henderson has abided by her plea agreement, and so the state's asking for that today. For Nathaniel Pope, the state's requesting on count 5, the sentence be 10 years, which after Reagan Tokes is applied to that count would be 10 to 15. There's a 3-year firearm specification on count 5. Count 10, the state's requesting a sentence of 7 years, plus a 3-year firearm specification on count 10. Count 15, the state's requesting a sentence of 7 years. The state's requesting that count 15 be run concurrent with count 5, but that counts 5 and 10 be run consecutive with each other. And that comes to 10 years, plus 7 years, plus 6 years in firearm specifications, being 23 years, and after Reagan Tokes is applied, 23 to 28 years. That is the plea the state offered at the time, and Mr. Polk has abided by his plea agreement. So the state asks for that now. Portria Williams. Portria Williams pled guilty to count 1 as indicted, aggravated murder, with a 3-year firearm specification. She pled guilty to count 10 without a firearm specification, and count 13 without a firearm specification. The state's requesting the following sentences. On count 1, we're requesting a sentence of life with the first chance of parole after 20 years, plus 3 years for the firearm specification. Count 10, we're requesting a sentence of 10 years, which after Reagan Tokes is applied, it's 10 to 15. Count 13, we're requesting a sentence of 7 years. We're requesting that counts 10 and 13 be run concurrent with count 1, meaning that Portria Williams' sentence would be life with the first chance at parole being after 23 years. That is what the state offered at the time of her plea. Ms. Williams has abided by that plea agreement, and so the state asks for that to be her sentence today.
Thank you, Mr. Filiatro. And as this court had indicated, the court is in receipt of the sentencing memorandum filed on behalf of the state of Ohio on January 6th of 2026. Any reason this court should not proceed with sentencing on behalf of the state?
No reason, Judge, thank you.
On behalf of Destiny?
No, Your Honor.
On behalf of Mr. Pope?
No, Your Honor.
On behalf of Portria Williams?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the state of Ohio?
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I've got several people in the courtroom today. Many of them are friends and family of Alishah Pointer, the deceased victim in this family, in this case. And I'll address that in a moment. But I don't want to miss the opportunity today to acknowledge the very hard work and diligent work that the various police agencies did in this case. Alishah Pointer did not live in East Cleveland. Yet East Cleveland police worked tirelessly on this case with and in conjunction with the FBI, who came to aid them when called upon, and as did other law enforcement agencies. This didn't happen in the city of Cleveland, yet Cleveland police officers assisted with this as well. And I wanted to acknowledge that. I think the court understood some of that during the testimony of Special Agent Kristen McCaskill, who testified in two of the trials, would have testified in Brittany Smith's had we finished, but she pled guilty. Law enforcement never gave up hope that Alishah Pointer was alive, despite the fact that, and now we know in hindsight, she was killed on November 5th, 2021, which was also her birthday. Law enforcement worked very hard to try to find her and worked equally hard to prove who did what. And it was based on the work that they did that we as prosecutors were able to prove a complete picture of what happened to Alishah Pointer and the various things that so many people did to bring about her kidnapping and her death. And for that, I want to thank all of those law enforcement agencies and acknowledge them here today. But we are here today to also finish what we started, and that is
This is the backbone of the entire case, cooperation. These plea deals were conditional. Testify truthfully or lose the deal. The state isn't rewarding anyone here. It's leveraging insiders to lock in the full story.
respect of what was going on as well. Those plea agreements, however, come with consequences, and I've outlined them today. And I'll get back to that in a moment. But I'd like to now bring up some members of Alishah's family if I could.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If you could please state and spell your name for the court reporter.
Erica Pointer, ERICA Pointer.
And whenever you're ready.
I'd like to thank you, this court, Kevin, his office, all of the agents, all of the officers, everyone that helped bring justice for my baby. I know that these three individuals pled guilty. I hate that they all can't get life. They took my daughter's life. Two of these are mothers themselves. How could you bring a life into this world and take my daughter's life. I had to sit here and see images and hear things that no parent should ever have to. Losing her shattered me. I lost 20 pounds. All of my hair fell out. When Mother's Day rolled around, I didn't feel as though I deserved to be honored as a mother. A mother is supposed to protect her children. I couldn't protect my child from this. Imagine how that made my other two children feel.
Take your time.
They told some truths and still yet so many lies on this stand, still leaving us with so many unanswered questions. Her birthday should have been a day of joy for her. Instead, it was filled with terror. We never got a chance to tell her happy 22nd birthday. To me, I'm stuck in time. She's still 21 to me, 4 years later. Nate and the young lady that left her there, she thought they loved her. I can only imagine the betrayal and devastation that she had to have felt knowing that Nate threw her to the wolves. When he knew the walls was closing in on him, he needed a scapegoat. My daughter was that scapegoat. On her birthday, instead of feeling the love from all of her friends and family, she was burnt, beaten, battered, and God knows what else. She was beautiful on the inside and out. And even though she endured the unthinkable, she was still beautiful when I had to lay her to rest. No amount of time is good enough. Time does not heal. Grief doesn't end. But I do thank you for helping bring justice to our baby.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
If you could please state and spell your name for the court reporter.
Alayshah Pointer, Pointer.
Thank you, and whenever you're ready.
Like my mom said, I want to thank y'all, for the help that y'all given us the past 4 years, Kevin. I said enough yesterday, but I think today the only thing that I want to state is, growing up, my godmother had made a comment that stuck with me forever. And it was a homeless man. He was washing her car. And me and my god sister just so happened to chuckle a little bit. We're kids. We didn't know no better. And I remember she said, you better be careful who you're laughing at. Be careful, who you're making jokes about or how you treat people, because you don't ever know if one of those people are one of God's angels. And that stuck with me forever. It always made me watch how I judged people, who I listened to, and that's how I perceive people in this world. And it also makes me question, how can you look at my sister and not recognize her as such? And I know in those moments who she truly was present to every last one of them. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you again for coming down throughout this trial.
You're
And
welcome.
to you and your mother, again, this court is very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
You could please state and spell your name for the court reporter?
Aliyah Pointer, AALIYAHPOINTER. I've had a lot of anger and just so much built up tension within me for these last 4 years. One, because one of these defendants, Nate, who I know him by, it's just like it hurts me so bad I can't wrap my mind around how could you see her and look at her and not do nothing, not help her. We never did nothing to him, ever. And I don't know, I'm still confused to this day, and it still seems like him and his family just in denial, like that, like I really lost my sister and like I lost him, because like I loved him, like we loved each other, and you did nothing. You did absolutely nothing, and she didn't deserve that. And Patria, like I was pregnant, you were pregnant, and as a mom, like I don't know, maybe it's not in her, like it's just all the back and forth you were doing before you got caught with me, and all the back and forth on social media you were doing with me, trying to make it seem like I knew him. Me and my sisters knew y'all, and we never knew y'all, and y'all still just went out and did this. It just doesn't make sense, and she just didn't deserve that. Like deep down in your heart, you knew we didn't know any of y'all, and y'all still went ahead and did what y'all did to her. And I don't know. And Nate, I just hope you really I really hope you understand my pain, like.
What comes next isn't legal strategy, it's impact. Victim statements don't change the sentence here, but they change the record forever. This is where the case stops being about statutes and starts being about loss.
Then you lied to me. I called on you to help me find my sister. You was the first one I called on when I left EC Police, and you played in my face. And then when I called you, you lied to me still, when I knew you was a part of all of this. And I don't understand why would you do that? Like, did you not have any love for me and for my sister? Like, what was driving you there? Like, to really just betray her like that? Like, I don't know. And Destiny, she just keeps talking to me, keep making posts, just directing me through all her posts, and it's just like, you saying, if I really want closure, if I really want peace, I'll never have peace. And how I should be, like, you saying the things everything that you said in court, like I don't know, it should be true. So if I believe that, and if I'm telling my sister's story, why are you still directing me, like, saying if I want peace and closure? I'll never get it. And yeah, and Patria, I also want to remind you, I'm gonna see my son when I go home. You won't see your son ever. And I don't feel bad for you or him. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you for coming down again, and I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Filiatro.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Just a few more words on behalf of the state here. It would take a long time for me to describe the various things that were done to Alishah Pointer in her captivity, and I won't do that. The court has heard the testimony in these trials. But I do need to make a record as to why these sentences are justified Destiny Henderson was a part of the kidnapping of all three of the women who were taken in this case. She held the gun. She took the first two in order to find Alishah. And when Alishah was found, she took her too. Alishah was never in a safe place after that. Destiny was there also when Alishah's murder happened. She was involved in all aspects of this case. I will acknowledge that it was Destiny who, through her parents, contacted the East Cleveland Police Department and told them where Alishah was, and showed them where Alishah was, and then made statements. And this plea takes that into account, but also holds her accountable for what she did, which cannot be overlooked. Latria Williams had, all of the defendants had vengeance. But of these three, none had more than Latria at the death of Amingus. Amingus was her boyfriend and the father of her unborn child. So it's understandable she was angry at Amingus' death. She too was a part of all aspects of this case. Was there when the initial kidnappings happened. Alishah was taken to her house, was there when the things were happening to Alishah at her house, and was there and was one of the shooters. Which is why her plea acknowledges that with a plea to aggravated murder. She too made statements to the police. She too assisted, and the plea takes that into account as well. And I want to address Nathaniel Pope last, because in my meetings with the family, and I think you could tell that from Aaliyah's comments just now, of all the defendants in this case, I think it's possible none of them hurt this family more than Nathaniel Pope. Nathaniel Pope was there in the initial kidnappings of the three. He was not there when Alishah was killed. But he knew where she was. He had a hand in her kidnapping, and he knew who had her. And when Aaliyah, Nate's friend, Nate's good friend, Alishah's twin sister, on their birthday, asked him for help, he lied to her. And not only that, he took the fake posts that the kidnappers made using Alishah's phone to pin the murder of Amingus on the individual they thought did it. He took those posts and tried to get the Cleveland Remembrance page to put them up as proof that that person had done it. So he was knee-deep in this conspiracy to get revenge for Amingus' death. He gave statements to the police. He assisted. His plea takes that into account. But when we talk about, and today is a reckoning, when we talk about that, it shouldn't go overlooked that of the people involved in this case, maybe Nate Pope hurt this family the most. Because as Aaliyah said, he betrayed Alishah. So, that being said, Judge, we'd ask the court to implement the sentences that we've agreed to, and that the defendants have they've abided by their plea terms. We thank the court.
Thank you, Mr. Filiatro. On behalf of Destiny.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Please, the court. Nothing I'm about to say is in any way meant to demean the seriousness of what occurred here or the loss. Judge, none of the things I'm going to say are excuses, they're not defenses, they're not justifications for Destiny's behavior. And I think a few of the things that were mentioned and Mr. Filiatro did show how we got to the agreement that we did. Just very briefly, Destiny was 16 years old when this happened. As indicated by Mr. Filiatro, and I know the court goes through the course of the trial, After consulting with her father, she did contact East Cleveland Police. She did assist them very early on in the investigation. She did make statements, and most importantly, I think, she did alert them as to where the crime scene was. Your Honor, she accepted responsibility through the plea bargain. She's acknowledged her guilt. As Mr. Filiancho says, and the court's aware, having presided over these trials, she did comply with each and every condition of her plea agreement. At this time, we would ask you to impose the agreed upon sentence between the parties. And I know Destiny has a statement that she'd like to read to the court.
Thank you, Mr. Shaughnessy.
Standard.
She may remain seated.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I want to say I've been sorry and fully regret since November 5th, 2021. Not because I've been caught, but because I've allowed the fear others put in my life to be greater than the worth of Alishah Pointer. These past years, I feel like I will give my life so Alishah Pointer can have hers back. The lack of my actions and vicious spirit I had played parts in Alishah Pointer's death. For that, I deserve to spend every day I had to in prison. If the death penalty was an option, I would suggest it for myself because that's how much I hate myself and my involvement. Directly speaking to the twin sister, I'm eternally sorry. It's pain I feel every November 5th. The thought of you having to celebrate your birthday on the day your sister died tears me apart. I think about it all the time. I'm sorry, and I wish I did way more to prevent this. I'm sorry y'all have to endure the pain of losing a loved one like this. I'm sorry y'all have to sit in these trials and relive it. I'll forever be sorry for the rest of my life. I want to say I'm sorry to my daughter also. I know the absence of my life will affect you. Even my past choices. One day I knew you would see this. I was supposed to be the person to protect you from the person I became. Thank you for giving me the time to speak, Your Honor.
Certainly. Are there any individuals that would like to address the court on behalf of Destiny? Thank you, Mr. Dean.
Good morning.
Good morning. If you could please state and spell your name for the court reporter.
Delonda, D-E-L-O-N-D-A, Holiday, H-O-L-I-D-A-Y.
And whenever you're ready.
I'm Destiny's mom. Me as a mother, as a human being, I apologize from the bottom of my heart and my soul and to the family, the Pointers family. Nothing that I say or my daughter say will bring this young lady back. I am glad that the family has finally got justice. On the behalf of Destiny, she has owned up to the involvement in this case. At the time, she was 16 and was manipulated. As Destiny spent the years in prison, she will take that time to gain a lot of spiritual growth and reflect how to make better decisions and be a better person in life. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
If you could please state and spell your name for the court reporter.
Tommy Henderson, Tonyhenderson.
Thank you, and whenever you're ready.
Destiny Henderson's father. I want to basically say to the family of the deceased that it ain't nothing I can say right now to bring her back, but my condolences to y'all. And y'all can hate me or my daughter all you want. I got the call. And basically my daughter called me and saying she was in some trouble and some people got her in some mess. Instantly I was on defend mode and I already heard what was going on about the missing girl. So as I approached my daughter, I said, we need her back. So where is she at? My first thing was trying to put hands on her. Because I don't like that. We ain't raised her to be like that. We ain't brought her up to be in the streets like that. But, you know, stuff happens. But I think I approached it too late. I could have saved her. I was on, let's go get her. And she told me, Dad, they killed her. So what you got yourself into? I tried I ended up calling the police, and we was there at the house. I wish my daughter probably would, I wish she ain't even been in that situation with a group of people. I don't know what's going on. It's a big circus with a bunch of people playing reindeer games. And now, chain gang. There's no win or lose or nothing but lives and loss. Took it. Can't get one life back. Bunch of social media stuff. People playing out here in these streets until something real happens. Don't nobody know who's saying what, or oh, Destiny is this, or she don't have no fair trial because she's 16 and she been posted up like Captain Lundy at East Cleveland, basically saying that she was like the first person that did something. In reality, she wasn't. I don't know the parts, but I know my daughter. I can't sit here because I told her the same way when I seen her. What if it was you in there? I feel exactly just the way the family would feel. So there's nothing I could sit here and say, okay, condolences. They might not want to hear that. I feel the same way. That could have been my daughter. But my apologies to the court, the families of Alishah Pointer, the twin. I understand her pressure. I mean, I'm not knocking anything for posting anything that she said. She had a right to do it. I know how she'll feel. Because if it was me, if it was my daughter, I feel the same way. And I just want the family to know, I hope they find peace or not peace, or they're getting justice right now. But my daughter shouldn't have been in none of this. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, sir. Mr. Shaughnessy, anything further on behalf of Ms. Henderson?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Spellacy?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Judge, first of all, on behalf of Mr. Raddick and myself, I'd like to express our sympathy for Bill and the family. Judge, I listened today and I heard what the young lady said about betrayal, and there's no words that we can offer today to bring any peace to that situation. All I can say is that through this whole ordeal, Mr. Pope's been nothing but respectful to us. He's owned and accepted responsibility from our first meeting together. I know that he'd like to address the court. It's our hope that you'll consider the fact that he testified he did what he was supposed to do pursuant to his plea agreement and impose a sentence that we were. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spellacy. Mr. Polk, you may remain seated if you are more comfortable.
To whom they concern, I want to start off by saying I'm sorry for your loss and everything that added up to this senseless act of violence. I've prayed every day since this has happened. If I could go back and change everything that happened, I promise that I would. So many people/families have been affected over nonsense, and honestly, I still haven't been able to stomach the fact that she's gone. I know death ain't easy, especially losing a child, daughter, sister, niece, or a loved one in general. I know I may not be able to change the way you feel toward me, but I want to ask for forgiveness for any part that you may feel I played in this situation. No matter what I say, I know it won't bring her back, but I at least had to let you know that I am truly remorseful for your loss. No one should have to go through what you all went through, and I just hope and pray that you all forgive me. Find it in your hearts to forgive me.
Thank you, Mr. Polk. Any individuals present, Mr. Spellacy or Mr. Radigan, that would like to address the court on behalf of Mr. Polk? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, thank you. If you could please state and spell your name for the court reporter.
Marlene. My name is Marlene Polk. I'm Nathaniel's Polk's mom. Marlene Poke.
Whenever you're ready.
I want to first say my condolences to your family. And there's no other words for a loss. You can never get your baby back. And God knows we are praying family. And I know, even though we are praying family, God said hi, and he look above, he look beyond everything that's not right. I can never, every year that her birthday, also, I just feel like both sides lost out when it all met in Job. You know what I'm saying? And I know he loved your sister just as much as you loved your daughter and your sister and daughter. All I can say is that my baby's a good boy, a good man. When he took them in from Job Corps, he had his first place and he was happy. He invited them twins in to live with them where they didn't have nowhere to go. And my thing is he wouldn't dare hurt it because we have women in our family that he loved. Being the man of our family, he was taking care of me of pulmonary fibrosis, of lung disease. And, you know, I know no way in my heart he could have did nothing. Now helping her, you know, we had threats, people pull up to the house trying to kill me, you know, this, that, and the other, had to move. Life has really changed for just not our family, for others too, sitting up here listening to this. And the biggest loss is that I just hate all this happened because she can never get her baby back. He can never get his friend back. But his thing was my son had the biggest heart of taking care of everybody, you know? And I just hate, Lord knows I hate that baby lost her life, you know, and the other baby lost his life. And a series of events and other families lost their kids. All I can say is my heart is truly hurting because everybody lost out. But it's the bigger loss is that baby can't spend another birthday. But I know my baby. You know what I'm saying? He loved them. He took care of them, worked the Amazon job to make sure they was all right after they all graduated. You know? Out of school from Job Corps. Took care of me. And then to turn around, we are praying family. It's 8 of them. You know what I'm saying? He the only boy out of all his sisters. And when his father passed 5 years ago, he even helped me put his sister through school, through rapping, which she graduated from Central Cleveland Catholic. So I know my baby loved her and her sister. And he didn't care as long as everybody had a roof over their head. And I know deep inside it eats at him every day. And I tell him, pray. You know, pray. Just pray.
Take your time.
As a mother, I just hope and pray God give me the strength to see my baby come outside.
Thank you.
And I know that other mother can't.
I'm sorry?
I said I know that other mother came in and out the hospital with a lung disease. If I could just hug my baby one more time.
Thank you for coming down, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further on behalf of Mr. Pope?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spellacy. On behalf of Ms. Williams.
Similar to the other attorneys, Ms. Jameson and I would like to express our condolences to the family of Ms. Pointer. There's obviously nothing that we can say to make things work, but Your Honor, we're asking this court to enforce the plea agreement as outlined by the state of Ohio. You sat through all three of these trials. You heard Ms. Williams testify 3 different occasions. She has, from very early on, always accepted responsibility for her conduct in this matter, expressed remorse for her actions, and she's, to this day, very sorry. We're asking that you enforce the plea agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything you would like to say, Ms. Williams? You do not have to. It is your choice.
I asked the family if there's anybody to forgive. He was 40. He's not supposed to be locked. Nobody really wanted to make a do. That was just a spirit. But let's see if he did it or he didn't. There's a lot of things that people don't know what he is really want to do. There was more so in honesty. And then it became force. You see, you did it or you played around. It wasn't supposed to happen like this at all. Everything started from more injustice for ages. And now since we all are in this predicament, between the 3 of us, we the only ones that still feel like justice was supposed to be served. That's how we chose to serve. That's what I chose to serve. I understand every process. During the time I was pregnant. This was something we never did anything like this, never even expected to have a child, to be quite honest. So for the fact that a life was taken in my hands as I brought a life in, my son was taken from me. And still unfortunately, like, I don't have to follow this situation. No one will have that chance. I'm still see my son, but not the way he wants to. I understand the way that everybody feels because I feel the same way, just for a different person. I'm not asking for forgiveness, not even understanding, but I am asking us to forgive me.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Anyone on behalf of Ms. Williams that would like to address the court? Thank you. Anything further on behalf of the state of Ohio before this court imposes sentence?
No, Judge, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Filiatro. Before imposing sentence, the court notes for the record that it has considered the record, the oral statements made here today, the plea negotiations, which includes the agreed recommended sentence for each defendant that is present in this matter, the sentencing memorandum filed on behalf of the state of Ohio. The court must and has formulated its decision based upon the overriding principles and purposes of felony sentencing, namely to protect the public from future crime by the defendant or others, and to punish the offender using the minimum sanctions that the court determines accomplish those purposes without imposing an unnecessary burden on the state or local government resources. To achieve these purposes, the court has considered the need for incapacitation, deterrence, rehabilitation, and providing restitution. The court must and has also considered the seriousness and recidivism factors relevant to the offense and offenders pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 2929.12. The court must and has ensured the sentence being imposed does not demean the seriousness of the crime and the impact it has had on any victim or victims, and is consistent with other similar offenses committed by like offenders. Finally, this sentence is not based upon any impermissible purposes, namely the race, ethnic background, gender, or religion. Ms. Henderson, Mr. Pope, and Ms. Williams. Do you understand that, Ms. Henderson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that, Mr. Pope?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that, Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Thank you. And for the record, with regards to Reagan-Tokes, as Reagan-Tokes is applicable in all three matters, which Reagan-Tokes states that the sentencing judge will impose a minimum term from within the established sentencing range and a maximum term of an additional 50% of the minimum term. With regards to the qualifying offenses as it relates to each defendant, with regards to Destiny, the qualifying offense in your case is count 5. Also, Mr. Pope, your qualifying offense is also count 5 in your case. And Ms. Williams, in your case, the qualifying offense is count 10. Do you understand, Ms. Henderson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand, Mr. Pope?
Yes.
Do you understand, Ms. Williams? So the court at this time is going to advise all three defendants as to Reagan-Tokes. The defendants are notified of the following: that it is rebuttably presumed that the offender will be released from service of the sentence on the expiration of the minimum prison term imposed as part of the sentence, or on the offender's presumptive earned early release date as defined in section 2967.271 of the revised code, whichever is earlier. That the Department of Rehabilitation and Correction may rebut the presumption described in divisions B, 2, C, little I of this section if, at a hearing held under section 2967.271 of the revised code, the Department makes specified determinations regarding the offender's conduct while confined, the offender's rehabilitation, the offender's threat to society, the offender's restrictive housing, if any, while confined, and the offender's security classification. One moment, please. That if, as described, strike that. That if, as described in divisions B, 2, C, 2, little I of this section, the Department at the hearing makes the specified determinations and rebuts the presumption, the Department may maintain the offender's incarceration after the expiration of that minimum term or after that presumptive earned early release date for the length of time the Department determines to be reasonable, subject to the limitation specified in section 2967.271 of the revised code. Next, that the Department may make the specified determinations and maintain the offender's incarceration under the provisions described in divisions B, code. Lastly, that if the offender has not been released prior to the expiration of the offender's maximum prison term imposed as part of the sentence, the offender must be released upon the expiration of that term. I realize that is a lot of information. I want to make sure everyone understands that. Do you understand, Ms. Henderson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand, Mr. Pope?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Thank you. Just one moment, please. The court at this time is going to advise as to post-release control. Post-release control for all three defendants is the same, a mandatory minimum 2 to 5 years. Should any defendant be released and placed on post-release control, and violate, the adult parole authority is authorized to return you to prison for a maximum of 1/2 of the original sentence imposed. If you are convicted of a new felony while on post-release control, in addition to being punished for the new offense, the judge can add an additional consecutive prison term of 1 year or what time remains on your post-release control term, whichever is greater as a maximum. If, while on post-release control, you failed to report to your parole officer, you could also be charged with a new felony called escape. Do you understand, Ms. Henderson?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand, Mr. Polk? And do you understand, Ms. Williams? Thank you. This court is first going to, as indicated earlier, impose sentence with regards to Destiny Henderson. The court finds that a prison sentence is consistent with the purpose of Revised Code Section 2929.11. The court imposes a sentence at ORW of 10 to 15 years on the underlying offense of involuntary manslaughter, plus the 3 years on the 3-year firearm specification on count 5, again, involuntary manslaughter. Count 5, as indicated earlier by this court, is the qualifying offense. That is why count 5 has a minimum term and a maximum term. Moving on to count 10, the court imposes a prison sentence at ORW of 6 years on the underlying offense. Strike that. Moving back to count 5, the court imposes a prison sentence on the underlying offense of 10 to 15 years plus the 3-year firearm specification that shall be served prior to and consecutive to the underlying offense of involuntary manslaughter, again, the 10 to 15. Moving on to count 10, kidnapping. The court imposes a prison sentence at ORW of 6 years on the underlying offense, plus the 3-year firearm specification, again, which must be served prior to and consecutive to the underlying sentence of 6 years. As to count 14, conspiracy, the court imposes a prison sentence at ORW of 4 years. The court finds that the consecutive service is necessary to protect the public from future crime or to punish the offender, and that consecutive sentences are not disproportionate to the seriousness of the offender's conduct and to the danger the offender poses to the public, and pursuant to 2929.14C4B, at least 2 of the multiple offenses were committed as part of 1 or more courses of conduct, and the harm caused by 2 or more of the multiple offenses so committed was so great or unusual that no single prison term for any of the offenses committed as part of any of the course of conduct adequately reflects the seriousness of the offender's conduct. Specifically, the court finds, as it relates to Destiny, the involvement of Destiny, as indicated earlier, this court listened to the testimony throughout 3 trials. Destiny pointed a gun at Turquoise, participated in the kidnapping of Alishah, participated in the torture, and ultimately left Miss Pointer in an abandoned home amongst trash and debris. For this reason, the court finds that consecutive sentences are necessary pursuant to 2929.14C4B. One moment, please. So this will bring the total sentence after the consecutive sentences for a total minimum sentence of 25 to 30 years. Moving on to Mr. Pope. Mr. Polk entered a plea of guilty to involuntary manslaughter, count 5. The court finds that prison is consistent with the purpose of revised code section 2929.11. The court imposes a prison sentence at LCI of 10 to 15 years plus 3-year firearm specification as to count 5, involuntary manslaughter. Again, this is the qualifying offense as it relates to Reagan Tokes. Therefore, we have the minimum and maximum